Hi guys, Crad here. I just wanted to make a short video over the newest ZT to pass my way. This is the 0560 CBCF. The CBCF stands for composite blade and carbon fiber. So this is not a completely new model. I would say most people watching this video are probably already familiar with Zero Tolerance's 0560 line. This is just the newest and fanciest rendition of that, I guess you could say. The handles are still made out of milled titanium. You can probably see the milling there. So it's very light. The texturing is different on the scales. The original 0560's texturing, it's 3D machining as it's called, was sort of a elongated and angled version of the Hinderer texturing. This is more like thin pinstripes. It gives it, just a little bit of texture, enough texture, without being very aggressive at all. I'm actually not a fan of really aggressive texturing on my knives. For one, I've never really found it necessary, even with wet hands or a wet knife or whatever. Even in and around water, I should say. And also it tears up your pockets quite a bit quicker than a relatively smooth scale will do. So this is the carbon fiber side. The carbon fiber allows for the knife to be very light. I don't have the specs in front of me on how heavy the original 560s and 561s were, but the ZT 777 is 4.5 ounces and this is 5.5, so it's only 1 ounce heavier than the 777. The cutting edge of the composite blade is S110V, which is a relatively new super steel. It has a toughness around that of Elmax, with a bit better edge retention than that of Elmax. I don't remember the exact name of the steel that they use for the spine, but it's a softer steel. I believe it's a Chinese steel. Sort of the point of doing the composite blade is that even if they only have, say a small amount of a certain type of steel, say they find a sheet of S10V, or S110V I mean, and they want to do a run of knives with that, they could do maybe 400 knives if they do composite blades, whereas if they were to do the full blades they could only do 200. So that's a benefit there. It also helps keep the cost down because they can use a more expensive steel for the cutting edge and a less expensive steel for the spine, and then they can pass that savings on to the customer. And it could be argued whether or not this is an actual benefit, but in a way it's sort of like a samurai sword, where you have a harder heat treat normally is actually how it's done with a samurai sword, a katana. You'd put clay along the spine, and that would help dissipate the heat faster, so when it's going through the heat treat process the spine would stay softer, lending more flexibility to the blade, and the edge would be harder for better edge retention. It's not really a big deal on a 4-inch blade or sub 4-inch blade. I believe this is a 3.75 inch blade if I recall correctly. So it is a flipper, as you might have noticed. I have a little bit of a hard time getting it to flip very smoothly, at least not without a little bit of wrist action. And from what I understand, this was fairly common with the original, the 560s and 561s as well. By comparison, the 777 flips incredibly smoothly, no resistance. Blam, it's open. Yeah, 777, what did I say? Anyways, and the Big Bodega flips incredibly smoothly as well. These run on the IKBS system, so ball bearing system. Both of these knives run on KVT. I think it's Kershaw Velocity Technology, something along those lines. But it's essentially a ball bearing system, but it's a captured ball bearing system. And the ball bearings are held in place in a blue plastic ring. Just doesn't flip as smoothly. I can do it, but definitely takes a little bit more effort to get it right. Enough about the flipper. 4-position clip capability. It is a deep carry pocket clip. I believe the exact same one that was on the original 560s. It does feature Hinderer's LBS lock bar stabilizer. You can see the cutout for the frame lock. Overall, it's definitely a very nice knife. I believe these are steel standoffs, and I want to say that this is a steel liner on this side. So stainless steel this side, titanium frame lock side. Yeah, it's definitely the highest, most elevated form of the 560. The carbon fiber work is beautiful. The 3D machining really brings out the texture of it. A lot more so than a flat piece of carbon fiber. Just try to show it off at a few more angles here. Not a whole lot to say about this knife that doesn't also apply to the 560, so not a whole lot new. This is actually the first 560 that I've held in my hands. I've had XM24 in the past. They're certainly fine knives. The Hinderer designs. I almost do sort of wish that this choil here was a full finger choil the way it is on the XM series. So you could sort of choke up on the blade. Same way you can on the Bodega. You can see the copper wire in the composite blade quite a bit better than you can on the 777, which is kind of fun. From the pictures, and I believe some of the early information that's being put out, everyone thought that this was going to be a stonewashed blade. It ended up being a bead blasted blade. So if anyone has that on order, just be aware when you get it. It's probably going to be bead blasted. And I think it's kind of nifty that the one that I received was serial number 0110 right next to the S110V. Just a little fun coincidence. Thanks for watching.